Welcome back, Connor. Ooh, I am back once again with another exciting, head-scratching episode of Insane Disappearances. This is going to be a short video, though. This is going to be my usual base video. This is going to be one of my moments, where you think about something, because I'm a deep thinker, and I've been doing a lot of thinking about this thing going on with the new information about our atmosphere stretching beyond our sun. Okay. Let's get started, shall we? Okay. I can foresee a couple of things happening in the coming days or months or years after all of this information gets out. They're going to want to create a voyage to the edge of our atmosphere. Don't you think? That would give them a reason to say, ooh, let's go to the moon. Ooh, let's go to the sun. Or send a probe to the sun, which they've already been doing, I think. It's kind of hard to believe anything they say nowadays because they were the first proprietors of CGI. Okay, where do you think we got the technology from, my friends? Most of the technology we ended up with TV and all that stuff, fiber optic cables and everything, supposedly came from the technology in the crafts of these interdimensional beings coming from these other dimensions and levels and stuff. But see, here's the thing about the crafts. They don't be in them. They're too small. Number one, these things are like, some of them are like 8 feet tall. How is it they get in the darn craft that they can't fit in? What, are they sitting down like somebody in a car and they just flying through space like that? No. See, a lot of the craft that you see in the sky are actually mind-driven from other levels. Yes, my friends. They don't even be in them most of the time. Those are mostly probes, okay, that can do so much more like abduct people. Okay. Now, I'm kind of jumping all over the place with subjects because there's so much to talk about. But that's really the case with that. Most of those don't have any beings in them. They are usually driven by their mind from another place, another existence, another level. That's how powerful they can be. Okay, especially if they're interdimensional. That means they can travel between dimensions. They can exist to be beyond their own existence by going from one existence to another. But they're passing through like a doorway or a veil where they can get from this reality to another one, or from this level to another level, or from this dimension to another dimension. This one. But this is a three-dimensional dimension. They come from a non-physical dimension. Okay? I'm just saying. That's where this non-physical abilities come from, like being able to open up wormholes to pass through and all that stuff, or portals and stuff. The portals lead from one level to another. The wormholes lead from one level to another. The portals lead from one point of the earth to another. So that's how that works. But anyway, moving on. Okay, so I covered the UFO stick about that. Other things I want to talk about is what could they possibly do once they get that idea in their head. They'll probably send a probe past the moon. And then send a probe past the sun. And then after they pass the barrier of the sun, then it's just nothing but open space, maybe. I don't think so. Wanna know why? Okay, let's just say they actually get past the sun. Okay, let's just say this part is the edge of the sun. Anything beyond that, like say the edge of my beard, would be the edge of this atmosphere. Okay, of our atmosphere. Beyond that, it's supposed to be space. No, actually, it's not. Wanna know why? Because I've talked about this before, if not on my channel or live, I've talked about it in the comment section of one of my videos, or maybe on some other videos that I listen to, like this one about the Matrix philosophy or whatever, where they talk about a lot of things, and they were talking about some stuff that I knew about already, and I said my 2 cents on there. But anyway, if I didn't say it here, I'm gonna say it right now. There is an energy bubble surrounding the edge or the outer layer of our atmosphere, blocking us from entering into space. Think about it, people. If you haven't heard it, I have. I have heard them say the reason why they haven't gone anywhere past the moon is because we don't have enough fuel to make it past the moon. The only reason why they don't have enough fuel to make it past the moon is because that was their excuse for saying we cannot go past the atmosphere because there is a barrier blocking us from entering into space. Think about it, people. All this stuff that's coming out, I heard this stuff years ago. I might have been a teenager then, because I was so into space back then. I wanted to be an astronaut. Of course, at that time I was like, what, 13, 14? Not saying it couldn't have. It wouldn't have been possible. I always wanted to go to the space camp. Never got there. Of course, you had to get to space camp by entering into this contest for Kraft cheese and macaroni. Never won. So pissed. I hate you, Kraft cheese and macaroni. I hate you. Anyway, okay. So, think about it, people. All these pieces are coming together. They just announced, NASA just announced, they just realized that our atmosphere is a lot larger than we expected. It goes past the sun. So that means you ain't even been in space, people. But they want to. It's a dream of theirs. They tried to tell you that they did, but they didn't. All these people that saying stuff like, okay, perfect example. I talked about him many times before. Captain Randy Kramer, people. This man done said that he done been on Mars, he done walked on the planet, he done seen stuff that don't make no sense. Like on certain parts of the planet you can actually breathe. The other parts you can't because it smells like metal. Now that would accompany the idea of why the atmosphere is kind of like an opaque color, like kind of like a tan mixture or rust. And that's what he said. He says like rusty metal. Or just rust. You know, that's what it smells like in certain parts. Like they say you can breathe in certain parts of the planet itself. I think he said in the ice caps of Mars and all this stuff. So he did a 30-year excursion up there on the planet and all this stuff. Okay, first of all, Captain Randy Kramer, if you actually did that, and see, I heard this dude on Coast to Coast AM, so he's, talked about this live on Coast to Coast. So I have to bust you, buddy. Sorry. I gotta do it. Sorry. Now, these people done said that they just realized that our atmosphere is larger than they expected. Okay, so when they actually thought they was in space, okay, here's the blue part of the atmosphere. Here's where the space station is. Here's where the whole space telescope is. Here's where all the satellites are. They are all still within the atmosphere. So is the moon. So is the sun. So that means, bam, you ain't been past the sun. So that means, you want to know why you ain't been past the sun? Because you said you don't have enough fuel to get past the moon. But, okay, first of all, you thought you was in space regardless. So, now, all this stuff about them saying they been on the moon, but everybody says you can't have been on the moon because there was a microphone in front of the daggone video that showed that you was on the moon. You know, one of those little strobe microphones that they use in movie theaters. It was right here. Well, no, not movie theaters, but movie sets. It was here. Okay? So that means it was being done right here on this very crust planet. Oh my gosh, people. Come on, we gotta wake up now. They are basically telling us in sporadic patterns that they have not been into space. Now, if they know what they're doing this on purpose. Because all this stuff is just lining up. First, them saying, "Oh, well, we can't go anywhere past the moon because we don't have enough fuel to go past the moon." Then what happens after that? Soho came along. You started seeing all these UFOs actually parking their round behinds, well, disc behinds, right at the edge of the surface of the sun to gather fuel from its surface. All of that energy, all of that solar energy going into the back of that craft in a whirlpool-like form. Then it shoots off into God knows where. There goes theory about that part. I mean, of course, that's not fuel, that's a probe, so that makes sense. Duh. Okay, but there are craft that they say have actually been at the surface. This is when they started saying, "Oh, you know what? The sun isn't as hot as we say it is." That's another lie. Because if it wasn't as hot as you say it was, all these stories about things burning up before it even reaches the surface. But yet you got craft that can actually be right at the edge of the surface, gathering fuel, solar fuel for their, well, not solar fuel. That's like, what do you call that? Well, you know what they call the stuff, the energy coming from the sun. Anyway, I know, but I don't feel like talking about it. Anyway, so they're using that as fuel. Okay, we're talking about nitrogen, helium, all that stuff. Nitrogen is fuel. And then they speed off. I mean, we're talking about a sun that's supposed to be so hot that it would melt something. But yet we got craft that is so strong and so dense that the heat doesn't even break it. It doesn't even shatter it. It doesn't even make it hot. Think about it. They got materials that bend and unfold. You can burn it, you can try to burn it, you can cut it, you can drill it, or try to drill through it. Nothing happens. It's like some sort of super foil. Okay? But yeah. As far as that, it's a lot. Probably with the sun. So now you're looking at stuff from the sun. They lied about the how hot the sun was. They speculated because it's so big and so bright and so hot looking because of the summer. They speculated. And then that happened. A craft was right at the tip, right at the edge of the surface. And then it shoots off after it gathers the fuel that it needs. Then you're seeing all this other craft moving around it. So I believe the images from that because, I mean, the probe can't get too close, but if it probably can, since the doggone surface ain't as hot as they say it is. It obviously don't melt nothing, but it's hot enough to warm us, but it's not hot enough to melt something unless the material made from that craft is some otherworldly material that can withstand thousands of degrees of heat. I don't know. Okay, so moving on to that after that. Now, since they say they don't have enough fuel, and that means you can't get past the sun either. You can't even go into space because of the quantum bubble. So, just making me think. Because of this quantum bubble that I found out about, I even talked about the fact that the atmosphere was actually a lot larger than we know. And then all of a sudden, guess what? A video comes out saying, "Oh, guess what?" No, it wasn't a video on YouTube yet. No, it was. I actually sent a link on one of my videos. It's called it's a blue like thumbnail. It's a like something Corona, Super Corona, or something like that. And the guy talks about this. This is what came out after the fact. After I talked about it, and then that thing on the internet, posted about how big the atmosphere was. Okay, now if they decide to send a probe past the sun to see, to measure the energy, whatever it is they do to see what's out there, they'll send a probe out there past the sun to see how far it goes after that. But let me tell you what's going to happen if they try. They'll send a probe out there. And what's going to happen is You remember that scene in Independence Day where that craft was so big that one of the planes, one of the fighter pilots, slammed right into it in midair? That's what's going to happen to that probe. It's going to slam into that wall of energy that blocks our planet, that keeps us from entering into space. That's the next stage in all of the lies that they've been telling to come forward. Think about it. All these things that they said they've been able to do, the proof came out that they can't or didn't. And the reason why is coming forth. It's coming to the surface. But I'm here to tell you right here, right now, so that you know that Insane Disappearances told you about this. Now, I talked about the atmosphere part. Now I'm going to talk about the barrier part. And I'm going to say it again. I said it earlier, so I'm saying it again. There is a energy bubble around this planet. It's very thick. Thick enough to say we can't get past it. It's called the quantum bubble or the quarantine bubble. I know it as the quarantine bubble, but others call it the quantum bubble, or that's just another term for it. Now, there are videos on YouTube talking about them building this barrier around the planet to keep aliens from entering into our space. First of all, they're trying to take credit for that because they know that sooner or later somebody gonna find out about that. That's the reason why they're doing this. That's the what they call fake news. That's the fake news that they're talking about. Those videos that they put out there before the actual news gets out there, so that you won't believe it. I'm telling you, there was a video out there that I actually looked at about them building like a barrier, they're putting a bunch of rods together to make a big, kind of like a chain link fence, but it's like a bunch of bars that they link together to create a barrier that they can't get through. Nope, they ain't doing that. What it is, they created that video to explain what's gonna happen when they reach that point to where they're gonna find out. Well, we gonna find out. I'm telling you right now, when we find out, we're gonna find out that there's something blocking that atmosphere. We can't get past it. They're trying to figure out why. Well, no, we're trying to figure out why. But they're gonna say, oh well, see, we built this around the planet. We've been doing it for years so that we can keep the bad aliens from entering our space. There's going to be something to that measure, not in those exact words, but there's going to be something to that measure. And they're going to say they were the ones that did it. They say, well, we can't do that. We can't get past that part. Well, it was a secret. You know, we were building this barrier around it. You know, we had to do this, we had to do that. But they're going to try to take the credit for it. But I'm telling you right now, no, it wasn't them that did it. It was the Greys that did it. The good guys, okay? The interdimensional beings that are actually here to help us and guide us. But they're blocking us from getting that help, because they want to help us. They don't want to help them. They are what you call the Dark Ones. The Dark Ones are what you would call the ones in power. The shadow government. Yes, that's right, people. They are not human. Or they might not be human. That's the theory. But that part's going to come out. So see, this is the big secret. This is the part that they don't want nobody to know. So they created every single possible obstacle to keep them away from finding out who they are. All the lies. Why do you think all those lies got put in place? Because they heard about the shadow government, but they don't know who they are. They don't want them to know what they are either. The shadow government ain't human. There is no human on this planet that can be that powerful to where they're in charge of everything that runs the planet, which would be the government. They ain't gonna be able to do that. They may have somebody that's a patsy, you know, or their right hand man, like I say, maybe a general, maybe I don't know. I really don't. You know, so I'm not saying that to say I know this, because I don't know, but I'm just saying the big secret is what they're trying to keep us from here. But the other secret would be this barrier around the Earth. Okay, we can't go past the planet. They can. They can get in and out because of their technology. Okay, you want to know why they did it? because of Einstein. He fucked it up for us. He's the one that gave the military, the government, the atom bomb. Well, he gave us, America, the atom bomb. They dropped it in the desert. They saw how powerful it was. They said, oh no, now they got this kind of technology. Nope, we cannot let them bring this into space, into these other planets. But think about it. They are already talking about going to Mars and setting up, bases there. But guess what? You can't get past the doggone Earth, knucklehead. Because there's a barrier blocking the planet called the quantum bubble, or the quarantine bubble, as I know it as. So how is it that you can even say you even been on Mars? How is it you can say you even know what all the other planets look like? You ain't even seen them. You ain't even been past the Earth. You claim you got probes out there, but the probes ain't even been past the Earth because they can't get past that barrier either. Duh. Okay? If you send a probe past the sun, guess what's going to happen? That's going to explode in midair. And they going to see it. You're going to see a bright light go out in all directions. Then they're going to say, oh my gosh, it got hit by a meteor. No, it got hit by that barrier, dumbass. And let me tell you how you can see that barrier at night. As long as it's a clear night, you can see every star in the sky. I mean, it doesn't matter. If it's a clear night and there's a patch of sky that don't have any stars in it, or you can just see the whole sky and it looks dark. And, the stars are scattered all over the place. Look at the way the sky looks, around the center of the sky above your house. Go in the middle of the street, look straight up, or stand in front of your house, look straight up, and you'll see a dark, round patch in the center of the sky above your cul-de-sac or subdivision, doesn't matter. Okay? If it looks darker than the layer outside of it, this layer of it is gonna look black. It's gonna look dark, but it's not gonna be as dark as the center of the sky. The center of the sky is gonna look even darker, and it's gonna look round, like I won't say an oval shape, but kind of like almost just like a dark patch that looks round like this, like a cookie. Okay, that part is the very tip of the dome. Okay, so like I said, when you go outside at night on a clear night, no matter where you are on the earth, when you go, there's another thing too I want to talk about. I want to get to that part at the end. This is about where we actually are on the earth, just so if that part comes out, you know it came from me too. Okay, so like I said, you look straight up and you'll see a dark round patch of sky in the center of the sky above your house. That dark patch of sky is the actual edge of the dome. Okay. Now another thing too that I've noticed, if you look up at the sky and you see that dark patch in the center of the sky, and you see clouds that kind of arc it, that's another way to tell, because that happens above my house. I think I took a picture of it too. I have to find it and then I'll probably post it. Well, I can't post it with a thumbnail because the app that I was using to create my thumbnails, now you got to pay for it. For the user part where you can send it to YouTube. There's a process I go through to put it on my channel. I can send the picture that I create for the thumbnail on that app, and I can save it to my phone and work it through to put it on my channel and all that stuff. But now I can't even send it. I have to pay for it first before I send it, so it kind of pissed me off. So now, if you see a video of mine that don't have a thumbnail, that's the reason why. And a lot of the apps that where you can do that don't have what that app has. I've been able to use it for free for years, ever since I had my channel, but now I can't. So you're gonna be seeing my face a lot with no pictures on it until I can find another one that does somewhat the same thing that app does, that I don't have to pay for, unless I just break down and pay for it for a couple of months, and it's only like $2.99. But still, the fact that I was able to use it for free the whole time, I guess they wanted to stop that, because a lot of people were. They was able to send thumbnails that they created to their phones, and now they want you to pay for it, for you to do that. Anyway, so back at the task at hand here. Now, that's how you can tell. And if you see a cloud within that area and it arcs around the edge of that dark patch, you know right then and there that is the dome itself. Okay, and the clouds are pretty high up now. All right, it may look like they're not, but they are pretty high up. So the distance between the surface and the edge of the atmosphere is one thing, but you never know. You never know exactly how far up it is. So if you got the sun out there, that's where the edge is of our atmosphere, past the sun. Okay, so now in some videos they'll tell you that it goes past the moon. It actually does go past the sun. Now in other platforms, it said it goes past the sun, but it does go past the sun. So, like I said, if you try to go up there with a probe, that probe gonna explode in midair. That's what it's gonna look like, depending on what time of day or what time of night they send it. If they send the probe up, because they always send the probe up around like 4 o'clock in the morning. It's always dark. Okay, not all the time. Sometimes it'll be during the day, sometimes it'll be during the night. It depends on what time frame they got, what window they have, or whatever, where they sending it to, and that trajectory, so it'll swing by and they can pick it up and all that stuff. There's a lot of technical NASA stuff that they go through to send all these things into the atmosphere, not into space, but into the atmosphere. Okay, so like I said, they'll send a probe. It's gonna slam into this barrier and it's gonna explode. Now they're gonna have to come up with an explanation as to why. Knowing that you can't see it unless you got a good eye to know what you're looking for. And that's why I'm telling you, to know what you're looking for, look for that dark patch that looks like a huge cookie in the sky. Okay? Like an oval shape. That is the edge of the dome. And that's what it's called too. It's called the dome. Because it domes around us, but it actually covers the entire planet. So think about this too. If we can't get past the atmosphere, that means they don't even know what the Earth looks like. What? You mean to tell me? Hold up, dude. Really, dude? Come on, man. You mean to tell me that what we thought the Earth looked like ain't what it looks like? Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. They don't know what the Earth looked like. If they ain't been past the Earth's atmosphere, how is it they know what the Earth looked like? Nothing can get past it, not even the probes. The probes are still in the atmosphere too. So that means all these probes that they claim have been over the moon, over the sun. Yes. Think about it. Why is it they show dramatizations of everything else? That's because they can't get past the atmosphere because of that barrier. Think about it. They can't even see Jupiter because they can't get past it. They can see it from a distance. But think about it. If they can't get past the Earth or the Earth's atmosphere because of that barrier, how is it that they know so much about the other planets? Now, the Greys do send them information, but they only show them so much. So all the images that you've seen of Jupiter with the gaseous clouds shooting in all these different directions around the planet, that ain't real. Like I told you earlier, they had the technology of CGI before we had it. They the ones that gave it to us. But the dark ones gave it to them. Okay, fiber optic cables. They saw this stuff in the craft. That's how we ended up with it. It's on the documentary. They talked about it. So I gotta be true if they're talking about it on TV. Now, is that something that they just wanted to say to keep us from the true technology of these crafts? I don't know. Could be. But that other technology is going into their craft, though. Their technology. That's the reason why they have craft like Stealth Bomber or the TRB-3 or what's that other one in between? The one that looks like a bird. Dang it. Anyway, it looks like a triangle, but it's not a TR-3B. It's something else. Anyway. But yes, people. This is the reason why all of these pieces are coming together. First, they said that they don't have enough fuel to go past the moon. Why did they say that? There's a reason why they said that. They just wanted you to think that that's the reason why, but there's a true reason why. That was the lie. They got enough fuel to go past the moon. And they got enough fuel to go past the sun. They just can't get past all that because of that barrier. And watch, that part is going to come out when they send a probe up there. And they already know what's going to happen. They already know, but they already got their plan set. They already know what they want to say to the American public. They already know because, first of all, the quarantine bubble is transparent. Number one, so you can't see it unless you still know what to look for. It can show because the energy of that bubble merges with the atmosphere, so it causes a chain reaction in the atmosphere at night to where you can actually see its shape by looking at that dark patch in the sky. That lets you know that there is a dome over the earth or around the earth. Well, not a dome, but a bubble around the earth. But it shows up as a dome over our head, and that dome has a tip, and that tip causes that dark patch to form. And I have seen clouds form around the edge of that tip. Okay, I've seen it with my very two eyes, and I think I took a picture of it, and I gotta find it. If I can get this thumbnail thing straightened out, then I'll post it on the thumbnail with the rest of it. Or I'll just show it like this. You know how low tech I can get. Okay, but yeah. So there's that. That would be the reason why, if they decide to have an excursion, it leads them to the edge of the atmosphere just to see what's past that, to see what space looks like. It won't happen. They won't let us. We can't get past because of how destructive the government is. Okay, when they saw that atom bomb drop, they said, "Oh hell no, we're not letting them bring that destructive nature to all these other planets out here." Well, see, here's the thing: the planets aren't inhabited. They were never meant to be inhabited. They were meant to be used as guides. You know, like when you're on the seas and stuff like that. They were for navigation. That's what they were originally. That's what they were supposed to be used for. Okay, but they're just planets. There's nobody on them. You may find little microbes and all this stuff, but there's no life like people or aliens and stuff like that. People, they say that about Mars, and there were people that may have stopped there or started something there, but that was it. This was long before us. Okay, so there are traces of people that came through, but they were never meant to be inhabited. No, because most of the beings that you see come from other levels. Okay, non-physical levels where all this stuff is possible, like the things that the grays can do. Like stop a person from falling in midair by looking at them. I've seen that. That was one of the accounts from a guy that talked about it I think it was on a show called Sightings that came on the Science Channel. No, not the Science Channel, the Sci-Fi Channel, like years ago, back in like the 90s, like 95 when I was living in Virginia. And he talked about how he tripped. He was about to fall. The being turned around, looked dead at him, and he just stopped dead in midair. He just halted right in midair, in the middle of his fall. And I think he must have did something where he lifted him up and he landed back on the ground safely, on his feet and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool, So yeah, that's one of those are the abilities that they have. These are true natural abilities. Like I said, natural abilities. This ain't got nothing to do with a higher. I won't say they are at a higher consciousness, but they are more developed in their mind than we are because they are not vexed by the program that we're under. We are able to do that as well. We can actually use 100% of our brain, but they tell us in this program that we can only use 3% or 30% of our brain's capacity. It's actually already active. It's just that the program blocks us from that knowledge of being able to do it. So it makes it hard for us to do it now. If we had known this growing up, we'd probably be able to do it now. But see, that also keeps them from controlling us as well. So they have to dumb us down in a lot of areas, including that area. Because if we were able to do that, we would be free thinkers. We'd be able to do everything without their help. Even cure ourselves. Stay alive. Everything about our life that was created by them is a program. Okay, the quantum bubble information is coming, people. They're going to have a reason for that big explosion of that probe. Now, if they hear this video, they may not do it. They'll come up with some excuse as to why. Or they may not say nothing at all. They'll probably just go in the dark and not say anything about it ever again. Or they probably won't even try to go to the surface because they probably have an excuse as to why they can't or why they wouldn't. Okay? But all I'm saying is they can't do it. So all the stuff that they're telling you, all the stuff that they're showing you, they're all lies. CGI. Okay? Think about it. All these things that they've said. If you haven't heard the part about them saying they don't have enough fuel to go past the moon, the fuel part is a lie. They do. They just can't because they can't get past the atmosphere. Why would they say that about them going past the moon? Why? Think about it. They just revealed the fact that they didn't realize that the atmosphere was that big and it went past the moon and past the sun. That would be the reason why they would say they don't have enough fuel, because if they were to go past the moon, they would probably die in a horrible fireball if they hit that darn bubble. And they know this. That's why they came up with the excuse about the fuel. So what do? They send a probe. Well, guess what's going to happen when it's in the probe? If it goes past the sun, it's going to explode in a fireball because it will hit that barrier. Now, if they just don't say anything about it ever again, that would be the reason why. Now, if they have an excuse as to why they can't send a probe up there, that would be the reason why. Now, if they send one at all, and they say something happened, they probably come up with some excuse saying that they didn't have the feed, something went wrong in the middle of the feed where the feed got cut, but something did happen. They go find some reason. I'm telling you. You know, there's going to be a feed cut in the process of you seeing that explosion in midair at night. If they're sending the probe at night or even during the day, they're going to say something happened. They don't know what. We lost the feed before we saw what happened, but something went wrong. The probe is down, whatever. There's going to be a reason why they come up with all these excuses as to why something went wrong. Okay, and that would be the wrong reason why. If that probe hits that darn barrier and it explodes in midair, they're going to have to come up with a reason why. Okay, they'll probably say, if it happens at night, they'll probably say it hit a meteor or a meteor hit it. Okay, first of all, you do realize that meteors create streaks of light in the sky, right? Even before it hits the atmosphere. Well, no, not before it hits the atmosphere, but once it hits the atmosphere, that's when. Well, see, the atmosphere stretches pretty far out, so it's already a streak of light. So when it's coming in from the sky, you're actually seeing it inside the atmosphere, the dark layer. Okay, so at the point where it enters the atmosphere, you see it as a tiny little dot, and then it streaks down into a beam of light. Okay, that is the process of that doggone meteor coming in from space. Because I have watched it from point to point. I watched it as a tiny little bright point, and I watched it as it streaked down into the atmosphere. Okay, it was already in the atmosphere when it streaked down. So think about it. You saw the white dot. Okay, when it came into the atmosphere, that dark layer, that's when it hit. When it hit that dark layer, that's when it became that streak, because it got affected by the force of the weight of everything else. Okay, not gravity, because gravity is not real. Okay, it is the weight of everything else. That's what it is. If something is light, it's light. If something is heavy, it's heavy. Simple as that. It ain't got nothing to do with gravity. Just because a freaking apple hit Copernicus' head don't mean it. Oh, all of a sudden, that was gravity. No, it wasn't. It's just the weight of the object itself. Okay? The weight of air causes things to go faster because it moves freely. So when you're moving in something that isn't as dense as the ground, okay, it's going to move in real fast. And then it's going to come in like a streak. It's just simple physics, But anyway. Like I said, they're going to come up with an excuse. And that excuse may be something about, okay, it got hit by a meteor. But yet you didn't have the feed that showed that. So that doesn't mean that what happened actually happened, because I would never believe it. I'd have to see it to believe it. They'll probably create some kind of distortion, like a feed cut, the way you start seeing static, and all of a sudden the camera goes out, and then they try to get it back, but it already happened. He said, we don't know what happened, but the probe was destroyed. It was falling towards Earth, or whatever. Then he come up with a reason why. He said, we see what happened. Going back on some of the footage that we could see, it showed that there was an anomaly. An astronomical anomaly, like a meteorite that hit it, and that's what happened. How is it that a meteorite hit a freaking probe? Probes, from what I can see, are about as big as maybe a beetle car. Okay, that's about the size of it. So how is that a meteorite can destroy it as it's going to? I can understand if it's still inside the little rocket, and then the rocket normally breaks off at the top, and then that's when the probe is released. But it does that in the atmosphere, not into space. But they show you on TV that it goes into space because they know they can't get into space. Why do you think they have so many dramatizations of that stuff? These little CGI videos of them going into space, but they're not really doing it. Like CGI videos of spaceships going into deep space. Wanna know why? Because they can't get past the atmosphere. They know this, so they just fantasizing. They're looking at the possibilities if they could do that, but they can't because of that quarantine bubble. Watch, people. It may not happen for a while, but if you ever hear anything on the news saying that NASA is preparing to send a probe to the edge of the sun to see what is beyond the atmosphere, and then something's going to happen. They'll probably say a UFO crashed into it, or they'll say that it was hit by a meteor, but they didn't catch the feed. They didn't have, the feed went out or just before it happened. There's going to be so many excuses as to why they couldn't get that probe up there. You want to know why that explosion happened? Because it hit that darn barrier. So I'm telling you right now, they're not going to tell you that it hit a barrier. They're going to tell you it got hit by something else. Something that came in from space. Or they'll probably say aliens shot it down because they didn't want us to go. They didn't want us to find out anything about it. It's going to cause a huge conspiracy or controversy between us and the aliens. They don't want us to go into space. They're not going to mention the fact that the bubble is what caused it. They're going to say they shot it down. Or they believe they shot it down. That's going to be the big secret. Did they do it? Did the government cover that part up? Did they tell you what really happened? They're going to try and clear all these documentaries about why that thing exploded. They're going to have a documentary about maybe it was aliens. Maybe they didn't want us to know what was in space. Maybe they wanted to stay here. They didn't want us to leave. But no, it's because of this stupid bubble. Well, it's not a stupid bubble. They're doing it for a reason, because they're destructive. Okay? They ain't going to tell you that part. That would mean that the government is weak. That would mean that the government ain't got no control. That would mean the government ain't got no power. Which they don't. Because they're not the ones in power. The ones in power are the ones that got the control. But they're not human. The ones that ain't human are the ones with the power. And they're showing that. They can put a bubble around the planet to keep us from going into space. We can't do that. We don't have that technology. They do. So, who's the big boy here? Not them. They're the ones that are being controlled by the ones in power. Think about it, people. It's going to make you think. This video is special. I posted this for a reason. It ain't even got to be live, because you just got to open up your mind to the possibilities. Listen to what I am trying to say. Like as if you're going into the Twilight Zone. I'm just saying. I'm telling you. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this. And I'm telling you, now that they are putting it out there that they didn't know that our atmosphere was that big, all this stuff is going to come out. I'm telling you, all these questions. Okay, so if you ain't been in space and you send a probe and something happened, it explodes before they even get past the sun. Why is that? They got to come up with an excuse why. Okay, then you're going to hear ancient aliens saying, why did the probe explode? Was it extraterrestrials? Did they try to destroy it because they didn't want us to know what was in space? Because they know how destructive we are? Yes, that's exactly the reason why. But they didn't destroy it. The bubble destroyed it because it hit it. I'm just saying, These things are going to come out. They're gonna have an excuse for everything. Trust me, they're very good at that. They've been lying for years, for decades, really, to keep us from the actual truth. But yet it just keeps slipping out every single time, every time. So I say that to say this: you heard it here first, folks. If you're listening to this video after I post it, and you hear me say all these things, and then these little things just start to crop up, all these lies. Starting from the point where they said that they can't get past the moon because they don't have enough fuel to get past the moon. But yet you know so much about all these other planets, so you send probes. Yet the atmosphere is larger than you expected. Yet you still know about probes. If you didn't know the atmosphere was that large, how was it you know about how the planets live? That means you ain't never been to space because you claim you ain't had enough fuel to go past the moon. Okay, fine. But the reason why is because of that bubble. That's the reason why you can't get past the moon, because the bubble will block you from it. Let's say you go to the moon and you take off and go this way instead of going straight up. You're going to be going outward past everything that we know about, going in a different direction. You're not going straight up to where the sun is. I don't know. I'm just saying. All these things that they're revealing, like we don't have enough fuel to get past the moon. I think I might have heard that on a science show called How the Universe Works, or another one of those shows talking about space. I think they talked about it on there. It wasn't when I was a kid. It might have been on there when I found out about it, saying they don't have enough fuel to go past the moon. Now, the reason why is going to come out. The real reason why. If they send a probe for an expedition to go past the sun to see what is past the atmosphere, they are going to hit that bubble and it's going to explode. We cannot get out or in. Well, just might as well say out. We can't get out of the atmosphere, but they can get in or out because it's their technology. They could probably open a spot up, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to say too much because that might be what they're able to do, but they're probably just able to still pass through because they have the portal technology. They can pass through it like that, I would imagine. So, but yeah, a lot of things are going to start cropping up, people. A lot of things. These people are not going to be able to get away with their own lies because the truth is coming out piece by piece. They say they can't get past the moon because of fuel. Okay. Then all of a sudden you hear that the atmosphere is larger than they expected. It goes past the sun. They send a probe. It's going to slam into the barrier. These are the things that they're not telling you yet. If they telling you they don't even know, or they didn't know how large the atmosphere was, they thought that once they reached the outer layers of the blue part, they were in space because it was black. It was dark. But you were still in the atmosphere. So, with that being said, we ain't never been outside the atmosphere. Yet you know so much about space. So, okay, you got images that was given to you by the interdimensional beings, the dark ones. Okay, so you know about that. All this other stuff you know. You don't know what Jupiter looks like, but yet you showing all these images. CGI stuff. You can create movies or anything, make stuff look like the way it look. Get a picture of something and make stuff move around it. You can do anything. Y'all got that technology. Y'all can make anything look real. Anything look pretty. Just like how you clean up all the images of Pluto and make it look the way it do. Because all you've ever seen was a blur, and that's all you've ever seen. But you got the technology to clean that stuff up so you can see what it looks like by looking at the colors. So you map out how the colors look, the shape of it, all that stuff, the tone. And then, years and years later, you got this perfect look of what it looks like. But it's all CGI because you really don't know what it looks like. The blur is all you get. You can't get that far to see what it looks like because you can't get past that barrier. Watch. It's going to happen. I don't know when. At some point in time, they're going to talk about a trip past the sun to see how far out the atmosphere goes, to see if it really does, to see what happens after that. Right after that, that's it. You can't go into space. You know what I'm saying? They won't let us go into space. I mean, just like that Elon Musk thing where he's dropping a car from a point in the atmosphere, not in space. He even thought he was in space, but he wasn't. This man dropped probably a couple of $1,000 down onto the Earth's surface from that high. Okay, so crazy. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys so that if it does crop up, you know you heard it here first. This is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, so I'm going to get on off of here. In the news, ain't too much happening, even with this whole Area 51 raid thing going on. And they still keep coming up with all these videos on YouTube about what could happen if you do. Now, we all know that Area 51 has a lightning cannon that they got from Nikola Tesla. Okay? I've seen it in action. Okay? It's like this little, it looks like the back end of a strobe light. That they use like for a searchlight, or the beams that they have in Hollywood where they go like this. Kind of reminds you of that. But there's a beam of light that's transparent that shoots out, and it can hit anything and destroy it. They use that on that guy who was trying to get into Area 51. The guy that what's his name? The original Coast to Coast guy. I almost said it. Oh man. Anyway, I know who it is, but anyway. This guy was talking with him on the phone, and you could hear him in the plane flying towards Area 51. And he had this real funny accent. He was like, "Yes sir, yes sir, yeah, don't you know?" It was funny, So I be trying to figure out if that was staged or that was real. Because he said that he would want. He said, "I deserve to know. I'm paying my taxes, and I want to know what's out there." You know what I'm saying? So he's flying and everything. He said, "You do know you're gonna get shot." Then all of a sudden, you hear this rushing air noise off in the distance. Come to find out, it's their Air Force. They were tailing him. And I was like, oh snap, you actually hear them shoot ahead of him. They flagging him, telling him to land. And he was like, no radio. And then all of a sudden he said, "Oh, I see something open up in the mountain down there." And all of a sudden you hear a pop. He said, "Oh, they're shooting at me now." And then you hear another pop, but it's the sound of that lightning energy weapon hitting the plane. And then he said, "Oh, I'm going in." And then he drops the call. Never heard from that dude again. So he crash landed on their property, and they probably buried him somewhere. Because he was dead if he crashed. So, it was crazy. I don't know why I can't remember his name. I know his name so well. The original original host of Coast to Coast. So, but yeah, it's a lot of crazy stuff happening right now. So, like I said, if this ever comes out that they're going to send a probe out past the sun, something will happen. And they're going to have an excuse. Now, if they know what's going to happen, they may not do it at all. They may not even talk about it ever again. You'll never hear nothing else about it. YouTube going to talk about it like crazy, but they ain't going to say nothing about it because they know that it's just getting too close to the truth. That means they will have to sooner or later explain why can't they get past the sun. Why is it that you keep coming up with all these excuses as to why you can't go? Is there something blocking our atmosphere? Is there a barrier? Is there a wall of energy that keeps us from leaving? What? They're not going to tell you. I am, but they're not. And I just did. So I'm happy. My job is to tell you what you need to hear. Not what you want to hear. Or no, tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear. That's my job. To tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear. So if you're here for that, you need to leave. I'm not here to tell you what you need to hear, because what you need to hear is the program. That's why you're saying it. It's like what you need to hear is a part of the program. That's where that comes from. What you need to know is coming from free thinking and untold knowledge. That's what all this is about. The untold knowledge is what is happening in these national parks, people. The untold knowledge is the truth behind why it's happening. The untold knowledge is the truth behind who, or should I say what, is doing this and why. The thing is, though, you're not going to like the answer, because it's going to creep you out. It already is when you find out that someone can vanish without a trace and never be found ever again. No trace of who they are or where they were ever found. Or you just find tiny little niblets of information or evidence to state that something weird happened. Especially when people are being found dead without a cause of death every single time in the parks. Or people who seem to wander off trying to go home, and then it's all of a sudden they end up in a river. Dead. With still no cause of death. Dry as a bone, but you're in a wet area. Or sometimes found face down all the time in the body of water. But still, no cause of death. They try to say, oh, accidental drowning, he slipped and fell into the water. And he drowned. You do realize that he was on his way home, way across town. So how he end up in the river? I'm just saying. Footprints don't show him going there. So he had to been lifted up and dropped there. Why? I don't know. Sounds like what happened to the last guy I talked about. Seas, tide seas. Picked up at one point, dropped in another. And obviously, they did things to him. Things that killed him. And they weren't worried about the fact that it did. And they just left him there. I don't know if they operated him on. I don't know what they did. I couldn't even tell you. I don't even think I could even fathom what they were doing to him for him to die from it. But it left no cause of death. Whatever it is they did. So. And these are the dark ones. These are the ones that don't care or give a fuck about humans. They would soon rather devour us than to shake our hands. Which they do, okay? They do eat humans. That much is a fact. Okay? So, I'm just saying. But yeah, so I think I covered enough. So without further ado, I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my morning because I gotta go to work. I'm doing some off the overtime today. I'm gonna get my money today. I'm gonna make my check look nice and fat. Oh, so gonna do what I gotta do. And this is Insane Disappearances signing out with a little aloha and mahalo and a hui ho. Peace out, brother. Peace out, wahine.